Back-to-back state championships. Who could have imagined it? A few years back when my kid was a brand new marching band student athlete, I would have never thought it was possible. But that was before I learned how it was done. I was just like my kid, hesitant to meet new people, afraid my ignorance about band would make me look foolish. I wish there was someone then who could have given me the lowdown on just how I could participate to make sure my kid got the most out of his time in band. For that matter, on how I could get the most out of band. If I'd have known, the first thing I would have done is join the band boosters. These guys have already been down the road I had ahead of me, and they're a great source of information. The next thing I wish I knew is that band camp is a huge deal, for my kid and for me. Making sure my kid was prepared for a long day every day, that he got enough sleep, making sure he was eating healthy meals, making sure he was prepared to be outside in all types of weather and dressed appropriately. I would have also volunteered. Did you know that during camp all the students are fed by the Booster Club? That takes folks who can prepare and serve upwards of 200 kids daily. If I'd have known, I'd have volunteered to help on one of my days off. I might have also volunteered to bring out an ice water cooler and cups on one of those days. It would have only taken me 30 minutes to make sure my kids stay hydrated on these hot days. If I'd have known, I might have helped out with the uniforms. Did you know there are parent volunteers who wash, organize, and distribute uniforms for every competition, ball game, and parade? And speaking of ball games, the band marches at nearly every home football game, and it takes almost as much effort to perform at home as it does in the competitions. We really should call these games dress rehearsals for the competitions. I bet there are equally as many fans there to see the band as there are to see the game. As for the competitions, they really are a treat. We'll take our show on the road, as it were. It starts for most parents with decorating our cars to show support for our kids in our school. Usually the decorating will correspond with the show's theme for the season. At the competitions, we really have to be on our games as parents. Kids need to be fed. Their instruments need to be loaded and unloaded at the venue. They need to be issued their uniforms. The equipment, field commander stands, and front drops need to be set up on the field during the performances. I'm out of breath just thinking about it. Just saying, this is where it gets real. The most important thing you can do for your kid on competition day is to be present and to cheer them on. And speaking of cheering, we're out there representing our school, so we are always respectful of all the other bands competing. They work just as hard as our kids, and they all deserve our respect. You know, another great thing about competitions is all the friends that you'll make. We all tailgate before and during the competitions. These are all-day events and extremely fun for all, and while it takes a lot of work, it's extremely satisfying. We will typically compete at 3 or 4 events a season at other schools, but we also host an event at Central. It's one of the premier competitions in the state. We don't compete that day, but we need all hands on deck to pull it off. We're talking about coordinating parking for 10 to 15 schools, working concessions, bake sales, souvenir booths, providing escorts for the other schools, working the hospitality booths, the medical tents and water stations, monitoring the school hallways. At the end of the night, our kids will perform an exhibition of our program, and by that point in the season, it's pretty close to being perfected. Now we move on to state playoffs. If we qualify in the earlier competitions, we have the opportunity to compete in the state. There we will face the best of the best bands in the state that are in the same class as ours. There's an electricity in the air as we face off against the Lafayettes, the Dunbars, and the North Hardins of the state. The margin between the scores is razor thin. It is so exciting. If we prevail, we will welcome our kids home to a hero's welcome. Sure would like a three-peat. But we still have more to do to keep this band rolling. After the state, we're in full force fundraising mode. We have several opportunities to help out our band. Some of the local restaurants in town have band nights, where a portion of the proceeds are donated to the band. Did you know that you could hook up your Kroger or your Myers card to direct some of your savings to the band just for doing your weekly shopping? we have deals set up with UK to work at basketball, baseball, softball, and gymnastic events, and that brings in a great deal of money to our program. We also do sales every year around this time. Cheese and sausage, fruit and nut, just to name a few. But we're not done marching yet. The competitions are over, yes, but we have parades. Last year we marched in homecoming, Christmas, and the governor's inauguration. It's so fun to line the streets and cheer from our kids, you can even walk along with them if you want to. But while marching season is over, we're now into concert season. The Christmas concert, in conjunction with the choral department, is really a beautiful thing to see and hear. It puts you into the holiday spirit. The concert is given twice, and we have a silent auction on one of those nights to raise funds for the band. We continue into spring with various sporting events at UK. We even got to work at Churchill Downs for the Derby and the Oaks. It wasn't just your regular concession. We got to work on Millionaire's Row. We got to wear fancy chef's outfits and everything. The year culminates with the spring concert and finally the end of the year banquet, where we look back at the past year with pride in our kids, our school, and ourselves on how we were able to contribute to our kids' success. That's what I wish I knew the first day I took my kid to band, and I hope I was able to share with you what a special experience you're in for.